powered by the Legacy Sports Network. Tonight from San Jack, it is a bi-district matchup between the Channelview Falcons and the Manvel Mavericks. And hello everyone, with the coach Joe Price. I'm Brett Dolan. Thanks for tuning in tonight for high school basketball. We should have an entertaining game today. And Coach, we saw Manvel a couple of weeks ago, a tough loss against Pearland at home that kept them from maybe winning their district. For Channelview, this is a first-time experience for many of these kids, but I think we have two very athletic teams we'll see tonight.
Well, you know, if I was predicting anything about this game tonight, I'd say it's like David versus Goliath. You know, Channelview is David, Manvel is Goliath. Channelview is small, Manvel is big. But knowing Coach Holmes from Channelview, he's got a game plan up his sleeves. You know, he's a product of the Golden Triangle, and one of the top offenses down in the Golden Triangle is the spread. So he might be leading 3-2 and might spread it out if he got the ball.
Well, I think Channelview understands they are probably the underdog tonight. But again, this is a first-time experience for many of these kids to be in the playoffs, and they have an outstanding player in Maurice Redmond that we're going to get a chance to see tonight.
Yeah, he's averaging 24 points a game, and you know he's probably carrying the load for him, shooting over 40% from three-point land. So I'm sure he has the green light to put it up whenever he feels like he can make it.
Yeah, he's going to put up a lot of points, or so we would imagine. Now, switching gears to Manvel, we saw them again a couple of weeks ago, and Leon Gilmore was a player that impressed us. He had 13 points in that loss to Pearland.
Big guy who does a lot of things around the block area. You know, he's a good drop stepper, he's a good finisher, and he's a good rebounder. So, you know, you got a big who can do all those things. He can create some havoc.
Should be a fun game again tonight. The Manvel Mavericks and the Channelview Falcons, a bi-district playoff matchup. And we'll come back with our starting lineups and tip right after this on the Legacy Sports Network.
Shell Federal Credit Union. Perfect credit not required. Shell Federal Credit Union. No matter where you work or live in Harris County, you're welcome here with full service banking. More for you at Shell FCU. Banking, but better. Shell Federal Credit Union.
If safety is your goal, Fabinco is your gate. Fabinco, the world's leading manufacturer of self-closing safety gates.
When it comes to keeping my car looking good, there's only one place I trust, Bubbles Car Wash. That's because only Bubbles uses Lancel mitts with every hand wash, and their detailing crew removes every last bit of dirt. Only the best for my car, that's Bubbles.
We welcome you to North Shore Marine. We support a large parts and accessories for Johnson, Evinrude, Yamaha, and Suzuki. And we also have parts for your boat, not only just the motor. So you can come in and get pretty much everything you need and be on your way. So you name it, we got it. We sell Sea Arc aluminum boats. A wide variety we try to keep in stock so we can accommodate just about anybody. We service Johnson, Evinrude, Yamaha, and Suzuki. We have a master technician in our staff, and he's highly accredited. Well, of course, we're a family-oriented business. We try to keep it on that level. We're concerned for the well-being of our customers. Come visit us at North Shore Marine.
Anders Gymnasium here at San Jack. It's playoff basketball between the Channelview Falcons and the Manvel Mavericks. Let's take a look at our starting lineups. First for the Falcons, 8-4 in district play at 21-5A, 19-13 on the season. Maurice Redmond, the man that we featured in our open, 24 points a game. The 6'2 senior is their leading scorer. Latrell Miller, 5'6 senior, is a left-handed point guard that'll get a lot of minutes tonight. Trevin Watson is a 6'2 junior, one of a few juniors on this team. 10 seniors in all for the Falcons. John Rashall is a 6'5 junior in the starting lineup tonight for Coach Shannon Holmes. And then Dwayne Taylor, number 33, a 6'1 senior, rounds out the starting five for the Falcons. Now for the Manvel Mavericks under Coach Greg Devers, they finished with a 12-2 district record, 29-5 overall. Ahmad Huff is a 5'11 junior, averages 9 points a contest. Gavin Walker is a 6'3 senior. He also averages 9 points a game. Continuing on, Leon Gilmore. He was our featured player. We saw him put up 13 against Pearland. He is a 6'7 junior, averaging 14 a game. Then Traylon Ferris, a 6'7 senior, averages nearly 18 points a contest. And Kelton Houston is a 6'2 junior who averages 4 points a game for the Mavericks. Coach Joe Price, for Channelview, I would imagine controlling the tempo and pace so very important when they do not have a player over 6'3 on their roster.
Exactly right. You know, when you're small against big, you know, you want to kind of control the tempo and hopefully make them play the way you want them to play, because if it comes down to going inside, it's going to be a whole lot of rejection.
Now, Corey Alpo was a player who was averaging almost 20 points a game that broke his hand, broke his wrist in the second half of the district, and is wearing a cast tonight. That was a big loss for them. They found ways to win without him, but this would be one of those games I'm sure they wish he was healthy and available.
Well, that's true. You know, Channelview finished third in the district, but they made it a competitive district. North Shore ended up winning, and I think Beaumont Westbrook came in second. But, you know, when you got a guy averaging a double-double and you lose him, you know, it kind of hurts a little bit.
Mavericks in red will control the opening tap here at the Anders Gymnasium. Bi-district playoff basketball here on the Legacy Sports Network. Ahmad Huff controls on the top of the key. There's Gilmore, our featured player, a 3-try. Won't go, and the rebound tapped alive. And the Mavericks get it back. And the shot would not drop. Gavin Walker had an opportunity, but now come the Falcons, their first possession here this evening, and a wide open look from Watson. And Traylon Ferris up high for the rebound. He's a rebounding machine and grabs one right there for the Mavericks. Manvel lost just 5 games this season by a total of 15 points. It's a ball knocked away from Ferris, and the Mavericks able to get it back. But Ferris, the left-hander, goes off the glass and missed, and what a nice follow from Leon Gilmore for the game's first 2.
And that's one of the things Channelview's going to have to do. They're going to have to do a better job of boxing out, because when you're big like that for Manvel, you know, you can control the boards.
Dwayne Taylor turns it over, a traveling violation, back to Manvel. Coach Greg Devers said that his team needs to be able to handle this pressure. They were able to break it there easily, and Ferris quickly gets to the baseline. And the ball knocked out of bounds. It'll remain Mavericks ball. There you look at Latrell Miller. Going up against this zone defense, and the Mavericks try to find an open look. That pass was intercepted. Taken away by Miller. Ahead of the pack, and he'll lay it in for the first 2 for Channelview. So more pressure, Joe, for these Mavericks to try and contend with.
Yeah, Channelview's running a 2-2-1 full court zone. They're trying to put pressure everywhere.
So Ahmad Huff locates Gilmore in the corner. Silky touch from the left-handed three-point ace, and that is another three-pointer for Leon Gilmore. He has all 5 tonight for the Mavericks. It's 37 three-pointers this season for Leon Gilmore. There's Mo Redmond, tries to answer and didn't graze the iron. The rebound off to Gavin Walker. So it's an early 5-2 lead for Manvel. Ferris will pass in for Kelton Houston, and he was fouled, and it was Coach Holmes for Channelview, Joe, before the game telling me that one thing that concerned him about Manvel, well, obviously size was one, but he also felt like the interior passing of the big men, and we saw that from Ferris to Houston on the low blocks.
Yeah, they went one guy on the elbow, and he got it and passed to the guy down low on the baseline. So.
And the 51% free throw shooter, Helton, misfires on the first. If you talk about Kelton Houston, they say, what is he shooting? You say 51%, and they say, no, free throws, no. Everything is 51%. 51% from the field, 51 from the line, but he misses both there.
That's Achilles heel of Manvel, his free throw shooting.
Now, we'll talk more about that tonight, but you are so right. That's been an issue for them this year in their few losses. Redmond trapped under the baseline. He passes out to Miller. He'll rain up a three. It is perfect, and Latrell Miller has all 5 points for the Channelview Falcons. Almost 3 minutes into this game, a 5-5 contest here tonight from San Jack. Traylon Ferris had the open look, but he'll dribble out. It's Gilmore again, same spot he just hit from, this time an air ball, and it ends up in the hands of Sterling Fulton. Ball was tipped away. Gilmore got his hand on it. Back comes Houston, and the give to a wide open Gavin Walker, and he'll lay it in for 2. The senior able to score his first bucket. Manvel averages 65 points a contest. We saw them in a much lower scoring game in that Pearland matchup, and they had just 43. On the move is Redmond trying to get the shot off, and he lost it out of bounds, and that's a turnover to Manvel. Looks like Gavin Walker will take a seat, and Gilmore will pull the trigger from the baseline and toss one into Carlos Thompson. There's a young man on his way to Texas Tech to play football. He'll run a little point. The give to Huff, and he'll lay it in up over Trevin Watson. Strong move from Huff. So it's a 4-point lead for the Mavericks. Jarquez Smith with a soft touch, and the 6'2 senior with his first basket. Smith doesn't start, but he averages around 15 a game, so he'll get plenty of playing time for Coach Holmes.
That's a good average coming off the bench.
Well, it sure is. Justin Gardner also in the game for Manvel. Gilmore went baseline, and there's a blocking foul going against Channelview. Picking it up is Trevin Watson. That is the game's first foul. We'll have our first media timeout. It's the Mavericks by 2 here at San Jack on the Legacy Sports Network.
If safety is your goal, Fabenco is your gate. Fabenco, the world's leading manufacturer of self-closing safety gates.
Two-point lead for the Mavericks. Halfway through our first quarter. Of course, the winner of this game will have a pretty big test, Joe, coming up in a few days.
Don't tell me Travis.
Mavericks back with the basketball, and the 3 try would not drop. Ferris fighting for the rebound. He stumbled and then lost it. Maurice Redmond on the push, and Ferris there to intercept and take it back. Now the winner gets Fort Bend Bush or the Clear Springs Victor this weekend.
Oh, okay.
Gilmore in the baseline, strong move, and he had the look, but he missed it. And the rebound was grabbed by Gardner, then he was fouled, and that's just the second foul in this game, but Gardner looked like he had position maybe to go up and score easily. Instead, he'll have to go to the line.
Yeah, and right now it looks like Manvel is controlling the offensive boards. And it's going to be real important for Channelview to do a better job of boxing out. But here we go again, free throw shooting.
We mentioned in the open and just as we started play, the Mavericks have lost just 5 games this year. Coach Devers said they're 15 points away from being 34-0, but free throw shooting has been their Achilles heel. And he feels like in 4 of those 5 losses, free throw shooting is the one and only culprit. And there's a rebound up high by Gardner, and that'll frustrate a coach unlike any other, missing those free tosses.
That's true.
And they're 0 of 4 tonight, otherwise their lead could be greater than just 2. Traylon Ferris from the elbow. And the first basket for the senior, averaging almost 18 points a game. And then a foul committed in the backcourt by Huff against the Falcons. That's the very first foul for Manvel in the game. So the Falcons again with the basketball, 19-13 on the season, 8-4 in district play and 21-5A. There's Miller. 3 ball won't go, and Traylon Ferris will watch it go out of bounds. And you have seen these Falcons team play a couple of times this year.
Correct. I saw him play twice against North Shore. First game they lost by about 7, but they were there right there to the end. And when one of their better players got hurt, second half of district, it kind of hurt him.
An interception, and Redmond nearly slammed one down after he grabbed the turnover, but he was fouled. And Maurice Redmond was not scored yet, just about had a chance, and he wanted to bring this one through.
Yeah, that's a coach's nightmare when you want a kid to just lay it up and he want to dunk it.
Carlos Thompson did foul him, but probably not enough to interfere, but Redmond missed it nonetheless, and he'll convert from the line. Redmond being looked at by schools such as HBU. I believe they're here tonight. A couple of Division II schools. Mercer, another that might be interested in the services of Maurice Redmond. He'll make both free throws. That's back to a 2-point game. So the Mavericks will have to contend with this pressure most of the night, and they knew they would.
Well, I really think Channelview wants to control the tempo, but like you said, they're going to have to use their athleticism and their quickness.
Traylon Ferris with a nice give to Gardner under the basket, but then he lost it. And Jarquez Smith comes out of the pile with a basketball. So a chance to tie or maybe take the lead for the Falcons. Another turnover. Leon Gilmore just took it away from Redmond. Gilmore lost it. So Redmond made the turnover, then he got one back, and he'll go end-to-end. He'll tie the game, and he'll have a chance to put the Falcons up with a 3-point play upcoming. Another foul from Thompson, his second in about as many minutes.
Real nice move by Redmond to avoid getting a charging foul.
So a couple of substitutions for the Mavericks as Gardner and Gilmore will sit. And Channelview has taken the lead. So it's a 12-11 lead for the Falcons as Carlos Thompson able to break the pressure. He loses the basketball, but an offensive foul first. He was starting to lose the ball. It just didn't have the ability to stop. It committed the charging foul, and I believe that's 3 for Thompson. Just 3 fouls for the Mavericks, Joe, and he has all 3.
Yeah, he's going to have to sit probably the rest of the half.
So the Falcons now have to break some pressure of their own. Jarquez Smith from the free throw line. Around and out, no good. That ball was batted alive. Who's it off? It'll be Manvel ball.
I tell you, turnovers are big in this game, too. Both teams have 5 turnovers, and we're just in the first quarter.
You know, Joe, it looks like at times, you know, pressure may cause turnovers, but it feels like there's a sense of out-of-controlness from some of these players. Going too fast, not being able to get the handle on the ball.
Yeah, you're right. And a charging foul is like a turnover, too.
Indeed. Ahmad Huff back in. Here's Gavin Walker. He'll give to Ferris, and Ferris up over the defenders will score. He's the tallest player on the floor by about 4 inches and uses his height to get an open look. 4 points for Ferris, and Manvel back up by a point. Good first quarter here tonight from the Anders Gymnasium. Latrell Miller has scored 5 of those points for the Falcons. Controls on the top of the key. Here's Jarquez Smith. He nearly lost the ball out of bounds. Was stop and go move, shot up, no good. Rebound grab by Taylor. And we go inside, 1 minute to play here in our first quarter. Kendall Jordan into the game, controls on the top of the key. Holding and looking. His path was cut off, and there's a kick out to Smith. Another turnover. This one was stolen by Huff. So the Mavericks leading by a point. See if they want to take a final shot or get the best opportunity here against Channelview. Ferris with a quick into the corner. The 3-ball would not go. Rebound grab by Houston. There's Ferris, and he missed it from short range. And the rebound grabbed by Jordan. And a foul on Ferris at the opposite end of the court. So Ferris may be frustrated he couldn't finish and gets the personal. And Traylon Ferris will head to the bench for the final 12 seconds here in the quarter, and Gardner will come back in. So the Falcons have a chance to take the lead again at the end of 1 quarter. Latrell Miller has Gardner jump out on him. And an open look for Taylor, but he can't get it to go. And the Mavericks able to maintain a 1-point lead after 1 quarter. An entertaining first stanza. Mavericks 13, Falcons 12 on the Legacy Sports Network. Back here at San Jack. It's a 1-point lead for the Mavericks. Pretty evenly matched first quarter, Joe.
Yeah, it was. And I thought Channelview really did what they needed to do to stay in the ball game, but it's obvious that Manvel is big and they're controlling the boards.
And the Falcons will have the first possession here in our second quarter. Soft pass easily intercepted by Gilmore ahead of the back, and he'll flush one through. And Leon Gilmore was not going to give up that basketball.
Yeah.
Open path to the goal, and he was able to throw one down. So the Falcons had a 1-point lead at 1 point in that first quarter, now down 3. And a strong move by Maurice Redmond. He gets the field goal. That's 7 points for the senior Redmond. Gilmore able to break the pressure. Nifty move behind the back and a soft give to Walker. And he can't get the 3-point opportunity to fall. How about the ball handling skills from Leon Gilmore tonight?
Look nice for a big guy.
There you see the contact and the foul. So the first free throw make of the night for the Mavericks belongs to Gavin Walker. And, well, he's one of the better free throw shooters. 74% coming in, nearly 100 tries this season. As a team, the Mavericks at even 60% from the free throw line. And Walker, the senior, will split a pair. Rebound comes off to Rochelle. Well, the Falcons need a hit. Runner was short. Miller the miss. Huff on the push now for the Mavericks. Gilmore with a strong pass into Houston, but somehow he lost the ball. Smith has it the other end. He goes high off the glass to get the basket to fall. And Coach Devers told me before the game, Joe, he felt like the Falcons might come back 1-on-2, 1-on-3 at times, still put the ball up, and that was a pretty good case right there.
It was. Most definitely was. I tell you, the way the Mavericks were shooting free throws, you think that Channelview might eventually have to play hack a Maverick.
What a close game. You might see some of that.
Oh, yeah.
Take a replay of that previous situation. Ball was off Manvel to Channelview. Game even at 16. Not quite 2 minutes into our second quarter. It's a bi-district matchup. Diversion Williams. It's a senior. He will dribble around Gilmore and put up the jumper that would not fall. And Ferris to get a rebounding machine up high to grab the carom. Gardner in traffic. The left-handed hook will drop, and a chance for a three-point play. And Justin Gardner with the basket.
Yeah, Gardner using that 6'8" height to his advantage there. You know, a little jump hook. Be hard to block if he just 6'2".
Gardner with his first free throw make as well. So a three-point play for Gardner. It's a three-point lead for the Mavericks. Gilmore, another steal. He's done that a couple of times tonight, and he thought he was fouled, but Redmond comes up with a basketball, and Gilmore wanted the foul on that one. Finally, we'll have a timeout called by Channelview. Coach Devers wants an explanation. I thought maybe the whistle was because Gilmore was getting teed up. He was very vocal when he did not get the foul called when Redmond stole it right back.
Yeah.
There was a pretty good look at Coach Devers, and he has a lot of ties with Channelview. 7 years he spent as an assistant, 2 different stints with the Falcons, so it's a school near and dear to his heart. Now it's Coach DeShannon Holmes runs the program for Channelview.
And Coach Holmes has been there 3 years and has done a great job those 3 years. They've been in the playoff every year since he's been there. He was an assistant down at Port Arthur at Memorial High School before he came to Channelview, but he's done a great job since he's been there.
His team is playing well tonight. The Mavericks do lead by 3. Channelview has had a lead a couple of times in this game. Chance with a long one here to tie or maybe cut within a point. Jarquez Smith holding and looking on the top of the key.
Channelview likes to run that circle motion offense versus man. It sort of has some flex tendencies to it, but they do a good job of running it.
Speed and athleticism a part of their game. A smaller team that's obvious than Manvel. Kendall Jordan goes to work. Leads to a 3-try, and it will fall.
Yeah, that's touch there.
Maurice Redmond had to coax that one in.
Yeah, that's touch.
It's a shooter's roll. Yeah. That's also 10 points for Redmond. We've got a tie game at 19. Gilmore had the shot if he wanted it, did not pull the trigger. Coach Holmes up imploring his defense. Huff will try for a 3, and he'll answer with the triple. 63 three-pointers this year for Huff. Pretty good pass there from Miller, but his target, which was Rashal, didn't see it or didn't catch it. Out of bounds back to Manvel. So the Mavericks off that three-point basket from Huff. We'll see him bring the ball into the front court. They've had a couple of three-pointers in this game tonight, and their lead is 3. Ferris draws that triple team, able to pass out of it. Ball ends up back into Gardner. He had a left-handed hook earlier. That time his ball was knocked away. Gilmore, his third 3-try of the night. Ferris rips down the rebound, spins on the low blocks, had the ball knocked away a couple of times. And Redmond's fast hands gets the steal and maybe an assist. But Jarquez Smith was too far under. He did get the foul. Pretty good pass, though. Didn't lead to the basket, but a chance from the free throw line. Good give here, Coach, but he was just going too fast. He took himself right under the glass.
Yeah. He's fortunate to get to the free throw line, get fouled.
We might have a timeout from Manvel with 3:47 to play. Here in our second quarter, we'll take a break as well. Mavericks leading by a score of 22-19 on the Legacy Sports Network. Saw a couple of highlights there from the Mavericks. But Jarquez Smith to the free throw line. Young man with a couple of field goals and 4 points so far, and he'll split the pair. 2-point lead for the Mavericks in the ball. Boy, the Falcons not afraid to overplay the passing lanes. Traylon Ferris couldn't catch it cleanly, and it leads to a miss. He gets his own rebound. Misses again, but a foul. Well, Coach, at times I felt like the Mavericks have really been pretty good with their passes, but they haven't always been caught, as if they're catching their targets by surprise.
Well, that's true. And, you know, they got a guy running short corner. You know, when you pass to the guy on the elbow and he's looking for the guy at the short corner, it's normally a big guy getting it down to, and it's really a good offense to run versus that type of zone.
Traylon Ferris had the make. He is a 51% free throw shooter.
That means he's due to miss this one.
And you are correct, sir. So the Mavericks throw on some backcourt pressure themselves. What's the old axiom? Teams that press don't like to be pressed sometimes.
That's true.
A near turnover, but somehow the ball ended up in the hands of John Rochelle, and he's able to convert. Talked about maybe the Mavericks not catching some passes. There they didn't catch what could have been a turnover. It leads to a basket for the Falcons. It's a 1-point game.
Yeah, you got the guy running the short corner, and he's pretty much open.
That's Gilmore, and he passes out to the Mavericks, running some clock here, just trying to get an open look. Boy, Ferris up the high catch. Only he probably could have gotten that high, but he missed the shot. Gilmore doesn't get the rebound, and Redmond the rebound. Mo Redmond's been everywhere tonight for the Falcons.
Yeah, he has. And really, I think Channelview got the game right in their tempo, right in their favor. You know, it's one of those types, like I said, David versus Goliath. You know, if you can keep it close all the way to the end, you might get them.
Coach Holmes admitted that before the game. You know, on paper, we're probably the underdog, but he said, you know, it's one night, it's one game. You just have to find a way one time, beat them, and move on.
That's exactly right.
Redmond lost the basketball, so another turnover. Gilmore on the other end. He walked with it first. We've had 4 or 5 sequences tonight where there's been a turnover, followed quickly by another one.
I tell you, the turnovers are 10 and 9. Channelview has 10, and Manvel has 9.
Let's hope your pen doesn't run out of ink trying to count all those turnovers.
Yeah.
As far as Channelview is concerned, with their pace and their tempo, they're hoping to cause some, but Manvel probably doesn't want to return the favor as much as they have in this one. We're inside 2 minutes to go in the half. It's a 1-point lead for the Mavericks, but the Falcons have the ball.
Falcons in that spread offense that I talked about.
Kendall Jordan attacked the rim but missed the shot. Gardner cleared. Gardner's a load to handle too at 6'8", big-bodied guy. There was a ball blocked away. Dexter Williams was on the attack but had one swatted away. See the replay? It was Dwayne Taylor there to foul him. Talk about free throw shooters. Well, I didn't even get a chance to jinx Dexter Williams. He was 87%. He was 26 of 30 this year until that miss. For the 5'11 junior, the left-hander able to split a pair, get his first point in this game. 6 different Mavericks have scored. Their lead is 2. See if the Falcons can tie or regain the advantage. Redmond here in the left wing being defended by Williams, and that's a 5 count. And it turns it back over to Manvel. I could see Redmond out of the corner of my eye saying, do something, pass it, get rid of it.
Yeah.
Ferris may have been bumped from behind. No foul was called. The ball is loose. And Channelview comes out of there with it. So another opportunity for the Falcons. Redmond's had the big half, 10 points. Knock away, and Dexter Williams able to push it out of bounds with 36 seconds to play in the half.
I think Channelview will try to get the last shot of the half.
Manvel led by 1 after the first quarter. They lead by 2 as we get towards halftime. There was a traveling violation on Latrell Miller. No one really guarding him either, Joe. That was the tough part about that.
Just took off running.
And Huff will come back in for the Mavericks, replacing Gardner. So now maybe one final shot for Manvel. Ahmad Huff slowly walks it across the timeline. He scored 5 points for the Mavericks. He'll be content to hold and go for that final shot.
Yeah, I would think they'd put it up with about 5 seconds to go in case they miss it. They'd have a shot at the rebound.
See if it's Gilmore who gets the look. It won't be, and the 3 ball will not go. It was missed by Walker, and the heave hits the window and rattles around the ceiling, and we have played 2 quarters here tonight from San Jac. Again, the Mavericks led by a point after 1 quarter. They lead by 2 at the half. 24-22 Manvel. High school basketball playoff action here on the Legacy Sports Network.
Lucy loves to shop. Lucy also loves to save. Luckily, Lucy can do both with her new First Community Credit Union Platinum Credit Card. Not only can Lucy save on that new dress, she can also get those new shoes, too. Apply today and take advantage of everything a First Community Credit Union Platinum Credit Card has to offer, including a 12-month 2.99% APR introductory rate. You really can shop and save like Lucy. First Community Credit Union, official credit union of the Houston Texans.
In the Anders Gymnasium here at San Jac. Entertaining first half of a bi-district playoff matchup between Manvel and Channelview. Mavericks lead 24-22. And Joe Price, your thoughts on our first half of basketball here this evening?
Well, it ended up being a half of turnovers. Channelview had 12, Manvel had 10. So if you really kind of put that together, that's the difference of the game right there. 2 points, 2 turnovers difference. And I think Channelview had a pretty good game plan. They tried to run with them, try to press them a little bit. I think they got them just where they want them.
Yeah, those turnovers are a big factor because I think we've seen decent ball movement at times in the offensive end. Not a lot of makes, though, and you're not going to make a lot of baskets when you're turning it over to the tune of those numbers you mentioned.
Exactly right. And like you said earlier, you know, if you get in a rush, anything can happen. It could be, some of it could be bad. You know, you could have a charging foul or just another turnover. And that's basically what it boiled down to.
So again, Manvel led by a point, 13-12 after 1 quarter. They lead by 2 at the half. The leading scorer for the Mavericks, well, Leon Gilmore has 7 points, then Huff with 5. As far as the Falcons are concerned, Maurice Redmond, who averages 24 a game, has 10 of the 22 for the Falcons. Miller has 5, Smith has 5. But it'll be Manvel controlling in red, heading from right to left here in our third quarter. Traylon Ferris got open. He's missed a couple of those short jumpers. He'll get another try. And that one won't fall, but he'll earn free throws from the line. He's had a couple of shots from point-blank range.
That's true, and I think what Manvel is going to try to do this half, they're going to try to go inside as much as possible, just take advantage of their height.
We saw Ferris a lot in the first half operating around the free throw line, at times drawing a double team, passing out. You're right, though, Joe. First possession, he's right under the basket trying to get that easy jumper.
That's true. Let's see if he can make 2 free throws in a row.
51% free throw shooter this year, is 3 of 4 tonight, so 7 points for Ferris. Maybe that's an omen in a good way for Manvel. Pressure broken easily by Miller. And the give to Redmond, but Ferris up high for the block. Ferris with more than 90 blocks this season, so he is a big part of swatting away shots, and he got one that looked like maybe it was going to be an easy basket for Redmond.
That's a walk.
We didn't even need the whistle. Joe saw that one from Latrell Miller.
Turnovers.
Scouting report on Latrell Miller, super quick, but sometimes when you're super quick and you don't put that ball on the ground, you're going to get some turnovers.
Exactly right.
Winner of this game, again, gets Fort Bend Bush or the Clear Springs victor. And Coach Devers feels like maybe they match up a little better with Bush than Travis. But he needs to win this game to get his wish. And Gilmore will head to the line, and he was fouled on his drive to the basket.
I tell you, that Clear Springs Bush game should be a good matchup. Clear Springs usually give them problems every year. They always meet the first round. I know the last couple years in a row, and Clear Springs beat them one year.
For the Mavericks, of course, now competing at 5A as opposed to 4A, and trying to make their mark with the win. Gilmore, you see him there, and the lefty with the soft touch makes the free throw.
Manvel has done a good job in a short time. You know, they've been in 5A. I think it's their first year, and you know, in 4A they made a little noise. I think they played Yates, you know, in the regional tournament a year ago, but they come a long way in a short time.
Well, yes, they have. Gilmore with a couple of free throw makes. The lead all of a sudden has jumped up to 6. It's an exciting time of the year, to say the least. Start to look towards the brackets here in high school playoff action. Redmond with a 3 from the corner, and the Falcons needed that one. So it cuts that lead down to 3. Traylon Ferris went up for the slam, and he missed that one. So Ferris has had some shots from just a few feet out and has been fouled and has had to go to the line. That time he was fouled on the dunk attempt.
Yeah, he's trying to make somebody out of a poster.
So Traylon just made a couple of free throws. Goes right back to that line. He's been active, though, here in the second half.
I tell you, that's a good sign for him. He's made 3 free throws in a row.
Well, that one hit the back of the glass there and dropped through. But it counts. And another make from Ferris. So indeed a real good sign right there.
All about concentration.
So the Falcons back in that same spot they were the last possession, needing a make. Redmond had the 3 in the last possession. There he is again, down the lane. Sweet finger roll on the basket.
I think Mr. Redmond can play somewhere on the next level, whether it's Division II or NAIA, but he can play somewhere.
I think you're right. 15 points for Redmond. Gilmore tried to give to Ferris a high catch, and he'll lay it in. All of a sudden, 11 points for Traylon Ferris.
So that's hard to guard when you're 6'2", 6'3", and you're going up against 6'8".
And a turnover as the pass goes sailing off the padded wall. And, you know, Joe, the one thing that's impressed me about Ferris is the way he moves. We've seen his touch passing, but we also see him kind of gliding into position. He moves well for a big man.
Yeah, he's smooth.
Gavin Walker will give to Ferris. Right back to Walker. Skip pass to Walker with a head fake into the lane. Got tied up, hit the deck hard. He drew the contact and a foul. And all of a sudden the foul starting to rack up for the Falcons. Charge to Rashal. Good look there in our replay. Gavin Walker has been to the line 2 times tonight. He's made 1. And a substitution as well, as Rashal will take a seat for Channelview, and back in for the Falcons is Kendall Jordan. Again, no player over 6'3" for the Falcons, so they rely on a lot of guys similar in height, have to go for that energy. And there was a ball rebounded by Watson off the miss, so Walker missed them both. And the answer from Kendall Jordan, and a chance for a 3-point play. So instead of a couple of free throw tries for the Mavericks, they do not fall, and just like that, Channelview answers.
Nice pass by Mr. Redmond, and really a nice finish by Kendall Jordan.
Traylon Ferris committed the foul, so it gives Jordan a chance for a 3-point play, his first 2 points of the night, but he can't convert. So at one time the lead was 6 here in the second half. It's now currently 3. Ferris uses his height to save to Gilmore. That one looked like it was headed for the 4th row. And a near interception by Miller, but he saves it into the hands of Walker, so numbers are there for the Mavericks and they cannot take advantage. Well, Gilmore had Ferris open if he wanted to get the ball to him, streaking through the lane. There he is again, open, up, in contact, and he softly drops one through. Could have been a foul there too, but Ferris has 13 points. There's a ball kicked out of bounds. It remains Falcons basketball.
What is Mr. Ferris averaging? About 18 a game?
Indeed.
Yeah, he's definitely going to get that tonight.
I think he is. We saw him again in that Pearland game. He did not have one of his better nights. He had 8 points, free throw misses in that one. A 5-point win by the Oilers in Manvel that allowed Pearland to win that district. Much better effort, though, tonight, at least as far as the second half is concerned. He doesn't go up and try and block that one. It ends up as 2 points for Miller instead. 7 points for Miller of Channelview. Thompson to Gilmore, under the hoop, leans back in, can't get it to go. Ferris will follow, and Traylon Ferris, he had 5 points at the half, Joe. He's had 10 points here in the third quarter. We're not halfway through our third quarter.
Yeah, he's taking over this quarter. Putting the Mavericks on its back.
5-point lead for Manvel. A couple of times when it feels like the Falcons have had to get a basket, they've done that. This is another one of these situations, but the shot rims out by Watson. Traylon Ferris gets credit for the rebound. Carlos Thompson had 3 early fouls in the first half. He's back in there running the point. And the give to Houston. And the ball ends up out of bounds. And it belongs to Channelview. Well, it looked like Houston had a clear path to the basket. We have a timeout instead. Mavericks now lead by 5 here on the Legacy Sports Network.
Banking, but better. Shell Federal Credit Union. Perfect credit not required. Shell Federal Credit Union. No matter where you work or live in Harris County, you're welcome here with you be good to yourself? And don't you feel like coming home? It'll be like coming home.
Some rooms feel like a fishbowl. But in our Roomy Suites, you can spread out and live a little. With breakfast, dinner, and drinks included, you'll feel right at home.
See the Mavericks leading the Falcons by 5. Channelview 19 and 13 this year, and they had wins, Joe, over Strake, Jesuit, Westlake, Dawson, Dobie, Morton Ranch. They beat LaPorte twice. They beat a Memorial 2 times, and they beat a Bel Air team that really had an impressive playoff win last night. So they've had some quality victories, but now down 5. Need a basket, and they get one from Miller.
Yeah, they've had a decent season in spite of the fact losing one of their better players. You know, when you beat a Dawson and a Bel Air, that says something.
Yeah, that player that they're missing is Corey Alpo. We mentioned him at the beginning. If you're just tuning in, there's an easy look from Ferris, up to 17 points, 12 of those here in the quarter. Alpo, a 6'4 senior, averaging 19 a game. As in a cast, he was helping fold programs before the game. That was his contribution rather than being on the court. They know they'd like to have him there. And the runner from Redmond wouldn't fall. And boy, the Falcons could have used that.
Yeah.
Traylon Ferris taking over the game. He wanted the alley-oop to Gardner. He caught it, but no shot attempt. Thompson down the lane. The give to Ferris, and he missed it. A second shot, and Ferris now with 19 points. Boy, what a quarter.
Channelview doesn't have an answer for Ferris.
They do not, and they want to call a timeout, and I don't blame Coach Holmes. This is a 7-point lead for Manvel. I believe this is their largest of the game. And again, Traylon Ferris, who had 5 points at the half, has scored 14 points here in this third quarter. And there you see Joe just towering over everybody he's going up against.
Yeah, that's true. You know, he's probably got just as many rebounds, too.
And when we saw him a couple of weeks ago, he was averaging 13 rebounds a game. At that point, he had over 400 on the season. That doesn't factor in what he did against Pearland, what he did in the final regular season game, and he feels like a player who could probably pick up 13, 14 rebounds without any problem.
Yeah, that's true. You know, being 6'8", you know, he's 6'7", he's probably a Division I prospect now. Whether or not it's mid or high major, I don't know, but I really think he can play somewhere on that level.
Just saw a shot there, Joe, on the bench for the Falcons. What do you do if you're Coach Holmes right now to try and stop him?
I got to tell you guys, you know, we're going to have to deny it inside. We're going to have to get on the boards a little bit better.
Open look from Rashal. There's another rebound for Traylon Ferris. We still have 2.5 to play here in our third quarter. Ferris goes up high to catch.
He's trying to go inside.
This pass was intercepted by Smith. Jarkey Smith threw it up under the net, but he drew contact. He got so far under, he threw the ball under the rim, and you'll see it here on the replay. It doesn't work that way. It's a good shot right there in our replay, and he will try and earn some points from the line. He averages 15 a game. He's put in 5 points this evening. He's made his own free throw, and he's made both of his free tosses.
I think if Channelview can get this thing to about 4 points going into the fourth quarter, they might have a chance. You can't let Manvel get away from you.
Nope, instead of turning the ball over or turning the Mavericks over, they've ended up giving up some easy scores, and that's not been a good trade.
Definitely going to have to hit those free throws.
Gardner was wide open. They got it to him a split second late, and he missed it. Carlos Thompson got it to him a bit late. Ferris catches under the basket. Had he turned around, he had an open look. Brought the ball out. Now he'll shoot from short range and miss. Follows his miss, tips it towards Redmond, and Redmond will save to Smith. He will come back 1-on-4, and he will not score, but a blocking foul, much to the dismay of the Mavericks. 1-on-4, and Jarkey Smith just about dropped one in.
That was one of those calls that could have gone either way. I don't know what angle Mr. Fisher saw it from.
quick replay we got right there, I would think the Mavericks might have a beef, but Smith will head to the line for 2 instead. 7 points now for the senior guard. Biggest lead for the Mavericks has been 7. Chance for Smith to make it a 4-point game, and he does. Channelview will not go away. Mavericks have had some misses, though, from short range despite their points this quarter, and Gardner was bumped and he was fouled, and it was Rashad who picked up the personal underneath the basket. You know, we've seen maybe 2 or 3 times tonight where a foul has been committed when the ball handler has been under the basket or under the glass. Do you just let him go at that point? He's up in the air with no place to go? Or?
Well, if you can block the shot or stop him from scoring, you know, you want to do that. But if it's obvious he's going to score, you got to just let him go.
And if your name is Irving or Jordan, maybe you can hold the ball back and come around. Otherwise, you're kind of up in no man's land, and you hate to commit a foul.
That's true. That's a little teardrop.
Huff missed badly. Walker ran it down. Carlos Thompson gives right back to Walker. Couldn't bank in the 3. Huff was fighting for the rebound. The 5'11" guard, and generous at 5'11", gets the foul on the glass, trying to get the rebound. That is the 4th team foul now on Manvel in the quarter, compared to 5 for the Falcons.
I still think Channelview has the game in their favor. You know, if they can just knock down some shots and hit their free throws, they have a chance.
And as you say that, Ferris will sit for the final 128 or so, we would think, of this third quarter. So another opportunity maybe to cut into this deficit that's now just 4. Redmond had 5 quick points in the quarter, hasn't scored since. Smith with the 3 try, it won't go. Latrell Miller the putback, no good. And there's Gilmore to restore some order and get the rebound. One minute to go here in our third quarter. Bi-district playoff action. Thompson to Gardner, an offensive foul instead. And Thompson picks up his 4th. Looked like he had the assist, but he was a bit out of control. And we'll see it right here. That's a good call, Joe.
Yeah, it is.
So you see Thompson, he'll take a seat. Huff has to come right back in.
That's Thompson's 4th.
It is. Football players playing this game with a football mentality.
Yeah.
So yet again, another chance for the Falcons. Redmond's been taken away briefly, but as Gilmore jumped out of the double team, it left Redmond open, but he can't hit the 3. One of his better looks at about 5 minutes. Gavin Walker got the rebound. So we'll see if the Mavericks, leading by 4, play for a final shot here in the third, especially without Ferris in the game. Huff will stand near the timeline and dribble as Coach Devers does some coaching from the sideline. See him at the far edge of your screen. Gardner wants it, passes out of that double team. Gavin Walker, an offensive foul. And all of a sudden the Mavericks are picking up charge after charge.
Yeah.
And Joe, as much as you don't want to see the charge, and I don't think that was a charge in my estimation, but you do give the Falcons a chance with 5 seconds.
That's true.
Redmond's probably going to try and keep it. He does. The 3 ball is good. We've got a game. Instead of holding for the final shot, it gives Redmond a chance to do that. 18 points for Redmond. The lead for Manvel is just a point as we go to the 4th. Don't go anywhere. Back after this on the Legacy Sports Network. Brett Dolan and Joe Price from San Jac, a one-point game. And Joe, there were times in that third quarter Traylon Ferris started to take over. We talked about what he did with 14 points, but give Channelview all kinds of credit. At one time down 7, they're only down a point heading to the fourth.
Yeah, they got the game right where they wanted, I think. 1 point.
Ferris is back in for Manvel. Channelview breaks the pressure. Redmond had the big hit. And an easy look for Kendall Jordan. And just like that, it is Channelview back up by a point. That's 8 in a row, an 8-0 run by the Falcons. Huff will try and answer and missed everything. And there was Redmond for the rebound, and he will bring it up in stride as he crosses right sideline. Left all alone. He's feeling it. 21 for Redmond. And Manvel needs a timeout. Joe, at one time, it was 40-33 Manvel.
11-0 run.
The 11-0 run for the Falcons.
I tell you, I mean, and I'm a guessing man right now, but I would think if Channelview makes a stop here and they get the ball back, it might be spread game time.
Well, even when Manvel was leading by 4 or 5, you felt like Channelview had this tempo in their favor.
True.
What was it about this game that gave you that confidence?
Well, you know, they just seem to be as quick as Manvel, or quicker. They were just having a few problems stopping the bigs inside, but I really don't think that Manvel has hit a jump shot from outside this half.
No.
Everything's been inside.
I think you're right, and they almost have to find a way to go back to Ferris, don't they? That's the one time things have been clicking for them.
That's true.
Coach Devers right now talking it over with his 3 assistants up off the bench, trying to find some answers. Right now the Mavericks need to find a basket. Gardner triple teamed at the line. Huff will pull the trigger on a 3.
There's a jump shot.
Couple of 3-pointers, but none bigger tonight for Huff than that one. It's a 1-point game again. Falcons the lead in the ball. 1 minute gone here in our 4th and final quarter. So we might think. Kendall Jordan got up in the air and there was no place to go, but Huff couldn't save. And he loses the ball out of bounds. Mavericks 29-5, facing off against Channelview 19-13 in this bi-district opening playoff round contest. We've had quite a game. Taylor lost the ball briefly, able to get it back to Smith. So now Smith puts the ball in his hip and tries to restore some order. Goes up over the shot blocker. Ferris missed the shot. The ball's out of bounds. It is off the Falcons. It'll be Manvel ball. There's Traylon Ferris right there. See if he gets a chance to maybe put his team back in front. Ferris had a 14-point third quarter, flashing to the basket. He was open for a second. Passes out of the double team to Gardner. He used the dribble when he didn't have to, Joe.
Yeah, that's true.
Had he just gone right up, he had the position, then he missed the short shot. Would have put the Mavericks back up by a point. Instead, here's Miller over Gardner, scoring again. 11 for Miller. Three-point lead, a near steal. Carlos Thompson with 4 fouls back in the game, trying to dribble out of trouble. Carlos Thompson left alone after the slip. Ferris the rebound, the putback, it's a 1-point game. Traylon Ferris is hurt. He is down and the timeout will be called even though the Falcons had the basketball. And Ferris, after scoring his 20th and 21st points of the night, looked like he got tangled up a bit, maybe, and went down hard under the basket.
Let's hope it's just a cramp.
I'm not sure if we have a replay or not. He scored the basket, and I don't know if he stepped on a opponent's shoe. We'll see it here. This is the miss first from Thompson. Then you'll see Ferris on the right side of your screen make the basket. Ferris is still down. His basket made this a 1-point game again. He gets up slowly, and Joe, doesn't look like a cramp to me. I hope you're right, but I don't think it is.
Yeah, it looks like ankle problem. I really think if he can, he'll be back.
He has been the impact player by far for the Mavericks, scoring 21 of their 45 points, but right now he's not in. And he didn't play the last 2 minutes or so in that third quarter when the Falcons stormed right back into the game.
Well, I tell you what amazes me tonight is this crowd. I thought we'd have a packed house, especially from Manvel's side.
But they're all home watching it on the Legacy Sports Network
Probably
app,
so.
listening to your expertise.
Probably so.
Falcons with the ball and a 1-point lead. Boy, Smith had to come back and get it, and he had to go in the backcourt. He wants the tip, allowing him to go into the backcourt. The official says no, sir. Over and back. It'll be Manvel ball. So the Mavericks have a chance to take the lead, but they will do so without Ferris in the game. Might be a good time for Leon Gilmore to come back in this one and factor in.
He hasn't done anything this half, has he?
Just one couple of free throws, 2 points. Gardner with the left hand, no good. Rebound cleared by Jordan. His pass was tipped. Gilmore tries to save. 2 Mavericks for fighting for the ball, and it allows it to go out of bounds and turn it back over to the Falcons. Not quite 3 minutes into our final quarter here from the Anders Gymnasium, campus of St. Jack's. Latrell Miller, left-handed point guard, will walk it up against Kylos Thompson, playing with 4 fouls, trying to stay in this game. Miller pushes the tempo. The lefty from the right wing. Latrell Miller's had a big half, 8 points this second half. Coach Devers wants another timeout for the Mavericks. It's a 3-point lead for Channelview. Remember, in the second half alone, the Mavericks, as you see them huddle up, they at one point had a 7-point lead. Here's the last shot. How about that, Joe? A left-handed point guard gliding to the right side and the right wing, shooting back across his body and draining it.
He shot it with confidence.
Well, you mentioned confidence. You could see that really growing in the body language of these Falcons as they're not only staying in this game against the higher seed Mavericks, they're leading.
Well, that's true. They're on a 15-5 run here these last 5 or 6 minutes, and they're kind of feeling it right now.
Channelview won the last 2 games of the season. They defeated Deer Park 44-36 and over LaPorte by a basket 59-57. Those were the last 2 games. You see Traylon Ferris back on the bench. Gardner, though, was fouled near the free throw line. And that is just the, well, it's the 6th foul, I believe, on the Falcons. So Manvel will be forced to inbound. Gavin Walker pulling the trigger. Comes into Gilmore, but he wasn't looking to shoot. Gardner wants it on the low blocks. Doesn't get the roll. Another rebound for Kendall Jordan. He's hit a few of those here this quarter. So the Falcons playing with confidence with the ball in a 3-point lead. And a double dribble violation right in front of the Channelview bench. And here comes Traylon Ferris. Joey's going to be back in.
Yeah, really must have been a cramp.
Well, that is good news. Young man with a lot of promise is back in at the 4:18 mark. Mavericks down by 3. Ferris has 21 points in this game. Of course, he has the height advantage over anybody on the floor.
I think they're trying to get it to him, too.
Passed out for a 3-try from Thompson. A brand new game, tied at 48 as Carlos Thompson picks a perfect time for his first basket of the game. So now the Falcons will look for a lead. Instead, we have a timeout as Latrell Miller was trying to operate. Timeout with 3:41 to play. Manvel and Channelview tied at 48. So the Falcons want to talk things over, and probably not a bad timeout, Joe, for Coach Holmes, as we saw this game evened after that 3.
Yeah, probably not. He's had to work overtime tonight to get to the point he's at. It's almost like a 0-0. I really think it's going to come down now to free throw shooting. You know, whoever can make free throws, both teams are in the bonus, and whoever make the free throws here will have a chance to win it.
That is true. Each team with 6 team fouls, so we'll see free throws from here on out. It's the cheer squad from Channelview, the Falcons. On the other side for the Manvel Mavericks. Manvel trying to win in advance, trying for their 30th win of the year. And we mentioned earlier their 5 losses have come by at a total of 15 points. So they've been involved in a lot of these close games. I'm sure if you're Coach Devers, you hope that experience and maybe the frustration of losing some close games will give you a bit of an edge. But Channelview has played an extremely strong game here tonight. And after the timeout, Jarquise Smith will operate the offense. Well, he is a quick guard. Gives to Miller. Jordan controls. And the pass was taken away. Gilmore, a flush one, overthrow, he thought. He went up for the slam, and he slipped. He had a chance to put Manvel up. Instead, he misses, and Redmond will miss with a 3 ball on the other end. And I believe we'll have another timeout. Boy, Gilmore now limping. Boy, Joe, he had a chance to give his team the lead. He misses the dunk try and maybe hurts himself, and that's really unfortunate.
Well, as a coach, you call that the loser's limp. You got a layup, you want to dunk it, you're not under control, and you miss it. You know, like in baseball, you got a double, you try to make a triple out of it.
We'll be back for the final 3 minutes after this. .48 game, 3 minutes to play. And one thing Coach Devers was discussing with me, Joe, before the game, he said his coaches all week have preached the mantra of 1 possession. And he says, you know, at times maybe a player gets beat defensively and he says, that's just 1 possession. I'll get him next time. Or
right.
You miss a layup, or in that case you miss a dunk, you say, well, that's just 1 possession. But when you end up in so many games decided by a point or 2 points, you look back and you say, well, that could have been the possession that led to a win or a loss. And you know, I'm sure it's a mantra you preach, but I know Manvel's hoping that wasn't the 1 possession.
Yeah, that's true.
Jordan has an open look if he wants it, but Ferris there to defend. We go inside, 3 minutes to play. Game tied at 48. Channelview showing some patience in this possession after the TO.
They're in their spread game.
They're going to look for a back cut here.
Well, they want a lot of one-on-one situations here.
Miller goes one-on-one and 1.
They got what they wanted out of it. You know, I felt like Coach Holmes, you know, coming out of the Golden Triangle, which is probably one of the #1 offenses down there in most teams, would eventually get in that type of offense, the opportunity presents itself.
Well, Maurice Redmond's had a big game and some huge 3-pointers, and he leads the scoring for the Falcons. Latrell Miller has a chance for a 16th point. That was 5 fouls as well on Carlos Thompson, so he is out of the game. 5 fouls in probably about 7-8 minutes tonight. Latrell Miller, a chance for a three-point play, and he can't convert. So 15 points for Miller, but the lead remains 2 for Channelview. Traylon Ferris has had just 2 points in the fourth quarter. Has to tip the ball to himself. Gavin Walker pulls the trigger, and a three-pointer from Gavin Walker has put the Mavericks back up by a point. What a game, Joe.
Yeah. They're going to stay in this spread game. If I was Manvel, I'd fall back in his own defense and just let them spread it as much as they want to.
Especially with the Mavericks now up by a point, inside 2 minutes to play. Jarquez Smith to the elbow for the lead. And Ferris a rebound again. He's got to be in double figures in that category. So a huge possession for the Mavericks if they can get a make. Gavin Walker just buried the three. Gives to Ferris, and now the ball into the corner for Houston. Houston had his path cut off. There's Ferris. There's a timeout. Looked like Ferris, he was angry. He was in position maybe to score, but Coach Devers didn't like what he was seeing out of the offense and calls the timeout with $1:29 to play. Coach Devers, he blends right in with his Mavericks with that red shirt.
Oh, yeah.
What's he telling his team right now, Joe?
Well, he's telling them we got to be real patient when we do offensively. We definitely don't need a jump shot. We need to rely on a high percentage shot, which in this situation would be a layup or something around the basket.
Back to that one possession mantra.
That's true.
That theme would work here when you're leading by a point with this much time remaining.
I don't know if he'd want them to foul them because, you know, with their free throw shooting at 60% for the year, they subject to make 1 out of 2.
Well, that's a good point, probably worth revisiting. And again, in 4 of the 5 losses for Manvel, free throw shooting has been their Achilles heel. Now, Ferris might be the candidate to get the ball in the low blocks, maybe an easy score should he not score. He is a 51% free throw shooter. Although tonight he's 5 of 6 from the line, so a little better night from the stripe for Ferris should he have to go back.
A lot better than what we saw last time he played against Pearland when he was like 1 for 4.
That's right. That was in that 5-point win for the Oilers in Manvel. Mavericks will pull the trigger from the baseline. Traylon Ferris will pop out and grab the basketball. He'll give it to Huff. And the Mavericks set up the offense leading by a point. They can be patient if they desire. Huff had to come back for the handoff. Huff goes to work, and did he glide? He slid the foot and traveled. The slip monster has cost the Mavericks a couple of possessions here in this fourth. So the Falcons back with the ball down a point. Latrell Miller's had a big fourth quarter, and he continues. 17 points for Miller, and Channelview back up by a point.
That's blocking.
That is indeed a block, and Huff tried to drop it in, and you could see the slide by Taylor. It just wasn't set, Joe.
Oh, yeah. That was a good call. The right call, too.
See it here on our replay, and you can see the feet moving. Well, as far as Huff, he's not been to the free throw line tonight. He is a 74% free throw shooter for the season. He scored 8 points, but none bigger if he can make 2 here.
I think that's 5 fouls on Dwayne.
It is indeed. Taylor will exit. Shakes Coach Devers' hand as he leaves, and back in is Trevin Watson. He was a starter, but he's not scored. So 51 seconds to play. Huff for the tie. Biggest lead for the Mavericks in the second half is 7. I think the biggest lead for the Falcons has been 4. Huff has a chance to go into double figures for the lead. Cold-blooded free throws from Ahmad Huff. And a timeout on the floor,
yeah, Coach Devers.
See the Mavericks huddle up with a 1-point lead and 51 seconds to play. You fall back in a zone now, Joe, against this Falcons offense?
I would think you would put a little full court pressure on them, make them work a little bit. Definitely, you don't want to foul them. You know, they're shooting 21, but definitely, if they're going to take a shot, you want to hold them to one shot.
That's where Ferris would probably enter into this equation. He has been clearing most of the misses with his rebounding ability, but only 51 seconds again to play in this game.
You know, like you said before the game, on paper, Manvel was a better team, but you know, anything can happen, like in the playoffs. So it's one and done. You know.
We talked about it, I think, last week. We know the term March Madness, but really, you can get these type of games in February in high school basketball.
Oh, definitely in Texas.
So a little backcourt pressure indeed.
Well, they fall out of it and they go into a straight man-to-man.
Falcons with the ball down a point, trying to pull off the upset here tonight. Smith had an opening, but then he walked with the basketball. Looked like he had a shot attempt or a pass out for a baseline jumper. He turns it over. Back-to-back turnover. See what the Falcons want to do defensively. Houston races into the front court, passes out of a double team, and now they put the ball in the hands of Huff, who just made a couple of big free throws. And he was fouled by Latrell Miller. That'll be a one of the bonus for Huff. Huff had the 2 free throws that made this a 53-52 lead.
He's probably Manvel's better free throw shooter, too.
And the free throw is good from Huff. So it's a 2-point lead for the Mavericks. 3 in a row from Huff. What a job by the young guard Huff, making 4 free throws in the last minute of this game. Falcons need an answer. There's the man they want to have shoot. Redmond misses the 3. We had a tie-up for just a split second, and Huff wins the battle. Huff comes out of the pile with it, 12 seconds to go, and he's fouled again. 3-point lead for the Mavericks. We might have to talk to Huff if indeed Manvel wins this one, because it has been what he has done in the last couple of minutes. Has put Manvel in a position to win. Redmond had to look on a 3. When the rebound came off, 2 players had control briefly before finally Manvel got it. 5 in a row from Huff. He averages 9 a game. He's scored 13. It's been a lucky 13 for Manvel. How about Huff? All 6 free throws, Joe.
That's what it's come down to, free throw shooting.
5-point lead. Miller tries to answer. Jordan with the putback try. It'll drop. Timeout. 9 seconds to play. Seems to be some confusion as the officials go to the scorer's table.
I think they're complaining about the time. When Huff was shooting his free throws, though, there's about 12 seconds left.
Yes. Well, they've not put the basket up on the scoreboard for one. Jordan got the roll. The ball dropped through. It should be a 57-54 game. Right now, there's 3 coaches from each side at the scorer's table with 2 of our 3 officials. There you look at the summit.
Yeah.
Was there a timeout possibly called before that putback?
It could have been.
Because again, as you see the score, they've not put that last basket from Kendall Jordan up on the scoreboard. Manvel with the lead, and You
They
see
took 3 seconds off the clock. They put the score up.
There's the basket, so that will soothe the Falcons a bit, but losing those 3 seconds right now even of greater importance. So you see both teams huddling up.
I think the official timer probably got caught up in the moment.
The officials say, let's go, let's play. 5.5 seconds left in this one. Right now the Falcons have to try and earn the turnover. And Huff, who has been the busy man, will try and run off some time until he is fouled by Smith. For my money, what Huff has done here in the second half, he had one big 3-ball, Joe, but also with these free throws, he has sealed the deal, and that's what you like out of your guard. The man that's going to handle the basketball, you want him to be able to shoot free throws.
That's true, and you know he's hit what, 6 in a row. Got 2 shots now, so you know you would think he ought to be able to at least hit one of them.
For the win. And the Mavericks, barring a miracle now with 2 seconds to play, will survive and advance. Coach Devers wants a timeout with a 4-point lead.
You can imagine what he's going to tell his guys. Now, if you miss it, let them just go down the court and score.
It's a 2-word philosophy here. The first one's don't, and the second word is foul.
That's true.
Don't foul with a 4-point lead. That's about the only way that Channelview has a chance. This doesn't look like it's going to work out for the Falcons tonight. I was impressed by their effort many times in this game.
Yeah, you have to give them a lot of credit. They didn't quit. You know, like I said before the game, you got big versus small, and in spite of that, they played hard.
Huff began the night as a 74% free throw shooter. Well, he's made all 7. And he's provided the Mavericks with a 4-point lead. So we have 2.8 seconds remaining. There's 4 Mavericks under the basket for Channelview. You can't foul if you don't get anywhere near the Falcons. Huff has 16 points. Smith will shoot for a 3. It will not count, and congratulations to Manvel. They win their 30th game of the season. They survive and advance with a 59-54 win over Channelview. What a game, Joe.
Yeah, quite a game.
59-54, Manvel wins. We'll be back with our player of the game right after this on the Legacy Sports Network.
Crazy idea. What if your bank actually paid you for using your debit card? Let's say 10 cents for every $10 or more debit card purchase. How amazing would that be? We call it Cashback Counts Checking from Community Bank. A free debit card that pays you to use it. Even he's smiling at that. Swipe all you can from your bank. Community Bank of Texas. Bank where you live.
Manvel wins 59-54. It was an entertaining game to say the least. Ahmad Huff joins us. He made all 8 of his free throws down the stretch to seal the deal. And first of all, Ahmad, congratulations. I know this was a hard-fought win.
It was. Shouldn't have been this close. I just don't know what happened. Got to play harder next game.
You guys were up 7 at one point in the third quarter, and then you're down 4. What took place during that stretch, and then how did you guys find a way to come back and win?
Well, I like to say, my motto is always like winners win. That's what I like to say. So really we're winners, so you got to keep pushing and just get the win.
Well, you guys overcame a couple of things. Traylon Ferris had a huge third quarter, and then he had to go out for a few minutes. Leon Gilmore looked like he had a slam that was going to put you guys up, and he slipped. There were a couple of obstacles you had to overcome.
Yeah, it was a bad game for us, really. And we're ready for whoever wins between Bush and Coach Spring.
Well, I want to talk about that in a second, but I want to go back to those free throws because you guys have only lost 5 games this year, and 4 of those 5 games, free throws have played a big role. You stepped up and made all 8, and you were as calm as could be. Was the heart pounding at all, or were you ready to knock those in?
Yeah, no, it was easy because really we've been practicing for like 5 days on free throws back to back to back. So it was really easy. It was comfortable.
I know at times this year Coach Devers has preached one possession. You look back at the end of a game and you think, well, this one possession didn't go our way, but sometimes it's one possession that decides games. And I really think you saw that tonight in many different ways. Right,
because earlier today we watched a video about first possessions and all last possessions. And then Coach Barry, our assistant coach, he said a poem actually about it. So really we've been having it in our head the whole time.
Well, it certainly sunk in. This was your 30th win. And it's been quite a season, but you guys have another game to play. And you mentioned it earlier, you're already excited about who you're going to get to go up against.
Yeah, I'm ready. Whoever it is, I'm ready for it. I'm telling you.
Well, congratulations. A great job with those free throws. You helped your team win in advance, and we appreciate the time.
All right, thank you.
It's Ahmad Huff of Manvel. We'll come back. Joe Price and I will wrap things up in just a moment.
Lucy loves to shop. Lucy also loves to save. Luckily, Lucy can do both with her new First Community Credit Union Platinum Credit Card. Not only can Lucy save on that new dress, she can also get those new shoes, too. Apply today and take advantage of everything a First Community Credit Union Platinum Credit Card has to offer, including a 12-month 2.99% APR introductory rate. You really can shop and save, like Lucy. First Community Credit Union, official credit union of the Houston Texans.
And we're back here at Sanjak, a 59-54 win for Manvel. Again, I'm Brett Dolan with Joe Price. Thanks for tuning in tonight. Joe, we had quite a game.
Yeah, it was, and it came down to what I thought it would, free throw shooting. Mr. Huff came in and hit about 6 or 7 in a row right there in the end, and that was the difference in the game.
I was wondering if maybe he had some anxiety, but he was as calm in the interview as he was on the free throw line. He explained it pretty well. It's been something they've worked on all week, in fact, for several weeks, and it paid dividends when they needed them most.
Well, that's true. The last game we saw them, they were 1 for 8 as a team, but tonight they were well above that percentage.
It was a fantastic third quarter from Traylon Ferris. I think he had 14 points in that stanza. Channelview came back, though, and they had a 4-point lead. They put themselves in position to win. It didn't work out for the Falcons, but they played a strong game.
That's true. You have to give Channelview a whole lot of credit. They could have just said, hey, we don't have a chance. These guys are much bigger than we are. But they fought all the way to the end and, had the lead by 4 points at one point and just couldn't pull it out in the end.
Had those free throws not fallen from Huff, who knows how this game would have played out. But by making all 8, he was kind of able to seal things off. Redmond had a big miss there at the end. He was a huge part of what the Falcons tried to do today. And it was just one of those games that sometimes whoever executes best at the end gets the victory, and that's the Mavericks.
Well, I'm always talking about how it's a game of percentages, and that's what it came down to tonight.
Well, Mr. Huff was already talking about that next round. You could enjoy this for a few seconds, but this time of the year in the playoff brackets, you start to sneak a peek and look who's ahead, whether that is Bush or not, and I know that would be a big opportunity for the Mavericks.
Exactly right, and it's that time of the year where you can be one and done if you don't come to play. And I think Manvel got a little scared tonight, but hopefully they've been battle tested, they know how to win the close ones, and that they can move on.
Joe, we'll see you again next week.
Looking forward to it.
All right, so our bi-district matchup goes tonight to the Manvel Mavericks, a 59-54 winner over Channelview. So for Joe Price and our entire Legacy Sportsnet crew, I'm Brett Dolan. Good night, and thanks for tuning in on the Legacy Sports Network.